Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
Nice.
Let's get to it. 9:01. Happy Wednesday. Oh, man. Talk about a tale of 2 days, huh? We went from 185 degrees to, like, humid. It still feels 10 times better than it did the last couple of days. CJ Nasello, it's our daily show, RiverBender.com, Roku TV, anywhere and everywhere you get this show. Thanks for being a part of it. We got some great conversations coming your way in the 10 o'clock hour. We're going to be talking to Rock the Hops. We're going to be talking to Lacy, and we're also going to be talking to Dallas Martz, the former general manager of the Alton River Dragons, and get a conversation of how the next chapter is going to look for him, and also just reflecting on his time with the organization and really his part of really just building the organization to what we know it to be today. So all those conversations come down the pipeline. But let's dive right into this at 9:02. Here's what's happening around the Riverbend. Make sure you sign up for that daily email update. Join myself and 70,000 people that are in the know each and every day of the work week with Around the Riverbend. We'll take you to Pontoon Beach first during the late hours of August 3rd. To the early hours of August 4th. The lives of many were irrevocably altered after a tragic motorcycle crash near Pontoon Beach. Megan and Nico Lance are spearheading a fundraiser to support immediate expenses following the loss of community members Cole and Morgan Whitford. A trust has been established for their daughters, Remington and Emerson Whitford. Donations can be made through the FCB Bank or to the Irwin Funeral Home. A GoFundMe page has also been organized, and visitation will be at City Temple in Granite City on August the 9th, with funeral services on August the 10th. Also in the news this morning, the Illinois Department of Transportation has announced an intersection replacement project on Illinois Route 3 between Niedringhouse Avenue and Rock Road starting 6 a.m. Monday, August the 12th. Illinois 3 will be closed to through traffic at 20th Street during the construction. Northbound motorists should follow a detour via Plank Road, Packers Avenue, I-70, I-255, and I-270, while southbound motorists should use I-270, I-255, I-55, and 70. The project is expected to be completed by mid-September. Drivers are advised to stay alert, reduce speeds, and obey construction signage. For updates, you can follow IDOT on X at IDOT-District 8, or you can see the traveler's information map on gettingaroundillinois.com. DeAndre Holloway of Litchfield has received approval to represent himself in his upcoming trial following an evaluation to determine his fitness to stand trial. Holloway faces multiple charges that are related to that June 2022 death of 22-year-old Lisa Dodd at her apartment in Alton. The charges include first-degree murder, intentional homicide of an unborn child, dismembering a human body, and concealment of a homicidal death. The court's decision was made after a thorough assessment of Holloway's mental competency. His trial set to begin in October 7, 2024, with the community closely monitoring the case. We will keep you updated every step of the way. Girl Scouts of Southern Illinois proudly recognized Kennedy Kaysen from East St. Louis for her exceptional achievements. Here's what we know. Kennedy, a member of the 2024 Girl Scouts Gold Award class received a $5,000 scholarship from the Girl Scouts of USA for creating a literacy library for seniors in the East St. Louis Township. The Gold Award is the highest honor in the Girl Scouts, distinguishing recipients for their perseverance and leadership. This year, nearly 3,000 Gold Award Girl Scouts nationwide addressed critical community issues, raising over $1.6 million and investing 287,000 hours in their projects. Kennedy's works exemplifies the impact and the impactful leadership that's fostered by the Girl Scouts. Finally, in the news this morning at 9:06, 4 food trucks are distributing a total of 500 meals to the Alton Housing Authority's housing developments today from 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. Community members can receive a free hot meal at Oakwood Estates, Alton Acres, Toledo Estates, and Alton Manor. Each food truck is giving away 125 meals. John Michelle, who oversees Social Kitchen and Currency of Caring, said the event aims to connect and bless the community through food. Let's take a look at your weather forecast today at 9:06. It's 71 degrees, and it feels like it's 70 out there. Not too shabby on a Wednesday morning. Today, clouds are going to give way to some sun later on this morning, and it will be cooler and a lot less humid. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, but let's take a look at your air quality forecast. Your air quality overall is at 28, which is ranked as good. Grass levels are at moderate today. Mold is low. Ragweed is at moderate levels as well. The tree levels are low, but the UV index, moderate as well. So go outside. You don't have to put on as much sunscreen. Temperatures reach 79 degrees today, drop down to 61 overnight as we head into Thursday. On Thursday, a high of 83 degrees, a low of 60 degrees. And on Friday, a high of 76, a low of 57 degrees as you were listening to Scotty McCreary on the Alton Riverfront at the amphitheater. MetroTix.com. Get your tickets now. 76 degrees on Friday. How about Saturday? A high of 77, a low of 56. And on Sunday, a high of 81, a low of 61. So we got a great couple of days that are on the horizon. For time and temperature throughout the day, 618-465-4545. This time powered by Bounce Back, Rehab, Recover, and Return Home. Hey, before I take a quick break, wanted to give a big congratulatory message to my good pal Ray Hartman for winning his primary yesterday in Missouri. He's going to join us next week and fill us in on his general election coming up down the pipeline. But really cool. It was nice to get that phone call, and then, of course, to see the news ticker today was awesome. So wanted to throw that out there. But at 9:08, that's what's happening around the Riverbend. Make sure you sign up for that daily email update and stay up to date on weather at RiverBender.com/weather. But while I have you, let me fill you in on Grid Solar. You know, they really are your trusted partners in the Metro East. Solar's a scary industry. I mean, it really is scary. So if you're thinking about going solar, go with the people you can trust. Go with the people that actually study each and every day the nuances of the industry, all the changes that are always being made. You know, at Grid Solar, they're here to help make your transition seamless and rewarding. Yeah, rewarding. When's the last time you heard that, huh? Solar energy is a clean, renewable source that helps reduce your carbon footprint while providing a substantial saving on your energy bill. With Grid Solar LLC, you can trust in their expertise to deliver top-notch solar installation and exceptional customer service. Solar power is more affordable than ever. Thanks to the advancements in technology and available incentives. Sign up before the end of September. You heard me say it 400 times. Don't miss out on the benefits of solar energy. Visit GridSolarLLC.com to request your free solar design. Yeah, you heard that right. And discover how solar can work for you. Go green and save green with Grid Solar LLC. That's GridSolarLLC.com. Let's take a look at Skycam, and when we come back, we'll have more of our daily show right after this on RiverBender.com.
Hot town, summer in the city. Back of my neck getting dirt and gritty. Been down, isn't it a pity? Doesn't seem to be a shadow in the city. All around, people looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk.
Mark your calendars for August 9th as Scotty McCreery is live at the Alton Amphitheater, celebrating the release of Rise and Fall, out now.
And tickets are on sale now.
Hear your favorites like This Is It.
This is now, this is what I've been talking about. Looking out.
And the new hit, Cab in a Solo.
Can't believe what I just saw.
Get your tickets now at metrotix.com.
Get paid to go solar.
We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready, future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville. Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Dibs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit villagedispo.com and shop now.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Welcome back. Hey, while I have you, before we move on down the line, join me on Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. as we just enjoy the live show of the Scotty McCreery Show. So we're doing a live show, as you guys know, before all the big events at the Alton Amphitheater and during them, like the Food Truck Festival, Jazz and Wine, you name it. Easy there, Tiger. Well, also, this Friday, Brian Trust is going to join me. A few of the gang from RiverBender going to hang out. And then, of course, talking to business owners and vendors that are down there. We're going to talk to a few of the organizers with Eventive and so much more to really help kind of drive the message home and just showcase really the importance of Friday for the Riverbend region. And so if you have time, whether or not you're joining us live in person or if you're just kind of hanging out on a Friday, I encourage you to get tickets at metrotix.com. Buy 4 or more and use promo code Scotty15 and save 15% off. You can do it now by going to metrotix.com. You can also hang out with us before you show up. So while you're getting ready, while you're grabbing your friends and picking them up because you may or may not be the DD, turn on the show, get a little bit of an excitement going before you stroll into the amphitheater grounds, and life's good. Really excited about that. And while I'm talking about Brian Trust, on Thursdays at 2 p.m., you can hang out with Brian Trust every Thursday for Your Beautiful right here on RiverBender.com. It's not about religion. It's just about exploring one's faith and going through life and, you know, all the battles and hang-ups that come with it. So if you have a chance, really encourage you to tune in for that conversation. It's an hour long every Thursday, and you'll see me there as well. But hey, about last week, actually, Mayor Morrow joined us with Warren Goal, and I wanted to replay this conversation today because we're getting everything kind of going for this weekend, and this was really cool. It talks a little bit about the National Memorial of Military Ascent, which is coming into Grafton, but Warren's conversation with myself and Mayor Morrow was just fantastic. To hear some of this information was just really cool. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to come back in the 10 o'clock hour after this conversation with Rock the Hops. We'll talk to Lacy McDonald, and we'll also talk to Dallas Martz, all coming up in the next 2 hours right here on RiverBender.com. But first, this really great conversation.
Just loving you.
Here we go. It is 9:01 on this Monday morning. What a weird one, huh? We got Mayor Morrow in the studio along with Warren Goal. Good morning to both of you guys. Did you survive the monsoon?
We did.
How are you doing over there, Warren?
Well, good morning. Yeah, it's a beautiful sunny morning here in the Midwest, and ready to rock and roll.
I'm telling you what, though, I almost needed a rowboat to get down to the studio today, you know?
It came down in buckets.
Well, you know, this is really cool. I'm so excited to talk about, really just have you guys in studio and talk about your presentation that you just had at Hainer Library, which I heard was one of the most attended events that they've had in quite some time. Yes. And a lot of people had great feedback. Warren, how are you feeling right off the bat from that event with so many people interested to hear what you were presenting?
I am so encouraged in the heart that I was looking at an audience and I was saying, this is America. These are wonderful, wonderful people. And I said, doggone it, I live in Mexico now 5 years. And I said, my country's just, God, it's struggling. But I always felt, and I always will, that we have a lot of doggone good people in our country.
Yes.
Good, solid human beings who love their family, their community, their country, and they believe in the basic values of hard work and strength and reward and respect for each other. And I said, we're going to make it, because I'm looking at these people. We're going to make it. I could feel that power.
Well, and on top of that too, Warren, and what a great testimonial from that, because you're right, all the major 4 or 5 news stations always create the static, but throughout the country, we have just neighbors that are ready to band together and keep that American dream going. And Warren, if you could, for our audience that maybe is just getting to know everybody in the room a little bit more, take us through your background. You've had quite a great career.
Well, it's been a long life. It's long. I'm going to keep it going.
Yes.
Let me introduce myself in the American Indian way. My name is Warren Goal. I am maternally descended from Comstock, Seneca Cayuga tribes of Little Sandusky, Ohio. The people were relocated from their homes by Treaty of Sandusky, 1831, to the lands west of the Mississippi called Indian Territory. There's an old term for that area. It's called Oglala, a Creek word, I understand, that means blood earth, which is now Oklahoma.
Wow.
That's history.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Well, and Mayor Morrow,
yes.
you know, take me through this, you know, to have Warren a part of everything that you guys are doing down at the National Memorial of Military Ascent. this has got to just really bring this to another fold of just the prowess that this memorial brings.
It does. Everything that we've been talking about, we've always had what we needed when we needed it. And it was last September that I met Warren, and we were up in Minnesota. We were with the MRCTI, the Mississippi Rivers, Cities, and Towns Initiative, and they were doing an event a treaty signing up in the Minnesota headwaters at their annual event. So as the mayor, there's 103 mayors up and down the Mississippi River from Minnesota all the way to New Orleans that belong to this organization, Grafton being one of them. So I represented Grafton and went up to the headwaters of the Mississippi. And we were getting ready to do the event on a reservation. And as I'm walking down the hallway, I was late for dinner, wasn't I, Warren? And it was we had a busy day, and I didn't know who he was or anything. As I'm walking down the hallway to get to dinner, I've got my head down and I'm moving, and there's somebody blocking my way. And it was this gentleman right here, and he's in his regalia, his Native American regalia and so forth. So I start to go around him, and a little voice told me, he said, "Don't do that, just say hi." So I said, "Hi, how you doing?" And then that sparked Warren to notice that I was wearing my Bronze Star pin. And he said, "You have the Bronze Star?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I do too." And at that point, we became instant friends, and we went to dinner, and we spent about 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Just talking about this memorial, talking about that. And at the end of the dinner, I asked him if he would consider being the chaplain for our organization, our 501c3, and our commission, and he readily accepted, and we're ever so grateful. And we've been here for a week now, 2 or 3 events a day. This is the first one for here today. We've got another one after this, but we've been talking about the memorial, talking about the Native American contribution that in this area that Warren has been bringing out.
Well, and I really wanted to hit on that too, because my generation thinks of World War II from our history books in middle school and high school, or maybe even some of the documentaries. I learned so much just from your brief presentation at the North Alton Godfrey Business Council about code talkers. I had no idea of the importance and the contributions that Native Americans brought to our battlefields and to us in general. And Warren, does it surprise you the amount of folks that maybe are just learning about this for truly the first time? Does that surprise you at all?
No, it hasn't. During my travels, the United States, lifelong, and around the world, there's a lot of mythology about the United States, and people say it's a great country, but it's really got a lot of problems, okay?
Right.
And I thought that was kind of unfair in that regard. All countries have a lot of problems.
True.
Some years ago, I was addressing the medical graduating students, University of Washington, on American Indian veterans and American Indian health and so forth for the doctors who were graduating, because some are going to be on a reservation for 4 years to pay back the loans, student loans. And somebody brought up a point, well, it's really hard getting around these days, what do we do? There's always all these problems and this and that. And I said, the world's always been a mess, and it's not likely to change.
Right.
But if we all get together in common heart and common mind and take care of one another, we're going to be okay.
Absolutely.
And I still believe that.
100%, Warren.
And the doomsdayers saying we have to go to war and this and that in our own country, and just for why? We can make it. We can do it.
Right.
We've got all the tools. We've got all the people. We've got lots of good hearts. So I've been using that feeling and looking at the National Memorial of Military Ascent and saying, this is a vehicle to honor courage, sacrifice, so people can be proud of the families can be proud. Yeah, my grandfather was World War II, blah, 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 and teach the kids, hey, this is what it's all about. We just didn't pop out of the womb into the community.
Right.
Yeah, we have a history, for crying out loud. Let's teach that history, right or wrong. Let's just say this is what we are.
You're right, 100%, Warren. And Mayor Morrill, on top of that, too, to really tie in those contributions of Native Americans, the code talkers, into the National Memorial of Military Ascent, how important was it to do it in a way that truly brought out all of those nuances, those X factors that maybe someone who's never gone to war, that's never even really thought about it, can understand?
I learned something even today, every day, about World War II, about the sacrifices and so forth, the industrial might, the sacrifices of the families, scrap drives and so forth. But it's the thing that as we go forward with, Warren has brought to the table the Native American contribution.
Yeah.
But our memorial in 501c3 is set for everyone. And our 3 pillars on the foundation are to honor, to remember, and to educate. And as we talked earlier, where it's not just the American children that don't understand, but the Native American community also needs to understand the significance of the contribution of those tribes during World War II. And actually, I learned it started before World War II. Actually, the first Medal of Honor was given to a Native code talker in World War I.
Right. There was this gentleman, a young man, I think 19, 20 years old, Lakota. His name was Albert Grass. He died just a few months before World War I ended. He was a code talker. The Lakota were very highly represented in World War I code talking activities. And he was killed in a contact with the enemy on a road called Soissons-Paris Road in France. I think it was October 1918, very near the end of the war. And for his action, he was given the Medal of Honor, awarded the Medal of Honor.
Wow.
He's just a silent, quiet hero.
Yes.
But it's just one of many stories. You're speaking of not having the history available, presented. Well, here I am, 83 years old. Just recently, I learned that I had an uncle in combat engineers at Normandy. It followed on at Normandy and went on the road to Berlin and conquering and destruction of the German military and all that.
Wow.
He had actually hid out for 2 weeks. After his unit was in contact, he got separated. He hid out in a farmhouse, and the French people, fed him and kept him secret, hidden away from the Germans.
Wow.
Now, I just learned that from another relative. Saying, he's got a name, a museum of honor, blah, 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 And then I had an uncle who flew a P-51 fighter over Normandy and close support of the ground troops, protecting them from the Germans, and he spent 14 hours during D-Day in his aircraft. And when he flew back to England at night, out of fuel and all that, he couldn't even get out of the cockpit. He had been in a little cramped compartment for 14 hours. He was just frozen. And I know him, and unfortunately, he suffered a tremendous amount of negative experiences, and his life was very much marred by the memories of death and destruction and so forth. Not anti-American, but war.
Right.
War. We have to learn to divorce a war from the country.
100%.
Absolutely. We have to defend ourselves, but to save the country, we have to hurt people. And that's unfortunate, but that's nature. Nature way to establish the equilibrium and so forth.
Well, and it's been that way since it seems like Don was around, And Warren, I wanted to ask you, as we're kind of diving in here, and now that we're getting warmed up and 13 minutes in here now to the conversation, for the folks that maybe haven't picked up the last recent article from Riverbend or were at your presentations, could you share with us a brief overview of what the Code Talkers did and their significance, especially during World War II?
Sure.
Well, they have Code Talkers have a very distinctive history. I've known Code Talkers personally as a member of the Muckleshoot Tribe of Washington's organization known as the Intertribal Warrior Society Honor Guard, and we got around quite a bit as an honor guard, American Indian, up in the Pacific Northwest. Wow. So between the years of 2001 to 2019, I was a member of that, and I was a chaplain for many, many years. And we were responsible to provide military honors for deceased veterans and their families at the National Cemetery in Covington, Veterans Cemetery outside of Seattle. And during that period of time, we had almost 4,000 services. We were very busy up there.
Wow.
And I personally officiated at about 2,500 funerals. and I got to know the families and see every service was unique. And this is a long way to get to the code talkers, but some of our duties were to travel to various Indian reservations and so forth to conduct ceremonies related to veterans and whatnot. And we had the honor of being able to go to the Chehalis Indian Reservation south of Olympia, where every year they hosted code talkers for the November Veterans Day. And we had quite a big gathering. So I personally was able to talk to code talkers, even though, and they had a lot of humor, a lot of GI type humor, a lot of grins, a lot of smiles. If you say something, they kind of grunt a little bit and grin, you know. I mean, they're just good people. But unfortunately, they've all walked on.
Yeah.
But I did have that personal contact with them. But I never envisioned or thought that I'd have a relationship with a national memorial that was going to be highlighting their behaviors, their heroic behaviors. And code talkers were used in a major way by commands in World War I, Europe, to decode, encode intelligence information that could be passed, or military commands that could be passed from higher to lower, so to speak, you know, a general down to his troops on the ground in contact.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. And it was a protected way of keeping that information from being intercepted by the enemy over radio wave.
Wow.
Okay. In those days, radios were a straight shot, you know, a signal, and they could be, intercepted, received anywhere in the world. You couldn't control that. So what you had to do is encode the content of the message so the enemy couldn't read it. All you heard was words and didn't know what they meant.
And
it was classified information of a very high level because it was military orders, battle orders. And so they did a tremendous job and denied this information to the enemy and gave us an opportunity to gain superiority.
Do you know how the idea of using Native Americans and that language as code for some of these, for this type of work, was there a reason for that, or was this something that was just kind of developed out of a happenstance?
American Indians and the U.S. military have a long relationship, adversarial in some cases, but one of cooperation for common purpose, common goals, and so forth. And using Indians as interpreters was an established procedure, militarily, scouts and so forth. I kind of have to laugh sometimes. I said, I kind of wonder if the code talkers didn't originate when Indians used to communicate from high elevations with fires and smoke, and they had their own particular language.
Yeah.
If somehow it just didn't get connected with that in the very beginning, when there are scouts, they were asked, can you contact such and such or get a message to such and such tribe that we're coming or so? They said, sure, we'll go up in the hill. And because those hills were maintained 24 hours a day.
Right.
All through.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. That is so fascinating to me. And so, is there a reason why the connection was not made that quickly? To go from point A to to really get.
It's a slow evolution over decades. And eventually, American Indians became part of the armed forces of the United States legitimately, and some of them rose to high rank. For instance, the Civil War, the first American Indian representation in the regular army of the United States was with the Iroquois people of northeast New York. So, and they formed a full regiment of Iroquois soldiers who were part of a commissioned force recognized as regular Army of the United States under the command of I believe his name is Eli Parker, a Seneca Indian. And they were responsible for neutralizing Confederate forces in Oklahoma, Kansas, and securing that area for the federal government against the Confederacy.
Just incredible.
And it was an Indian battle. The commanders were regular Army, of course, and the soldiers were Iroquois, but they were opposing a force of Confederates who in that area at that time were primarily American Indian supported.
That's incredible.
So
I mean, that's
Indian
truly
versus
incredible.
Indian conflict in the Civil War representing the North and the South, and the North with the Iroquois prevailed and safeguarded that territory for the federal government.
You know, is there a reason, Warren, that, because to me, as somebody who, you know, young enough to still remember, you know, some of my history lessons, is there a reason that we don't really hear too much about those contributions that are made when it comes to the grand scheme of just our social studies and our American story?
I can't answer that. Perhaps it's because people thought, well, it's just not acceptable to read or won't be, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. That's an awful deep topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
Just for if somebody's interested, there's a book called Iroquois,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the Civil War. That's the simple title of it. It's incredible. It gives you the socioeconomic, cultural struggles of the Indian people in the Civil War, and it was such an effect. Even allies, Indian allies of the Northern government, the federal government, the winners, the victors, were punished because they were living in areas where the Confederacy had control and are considered to be less than dependable, and some of them actually had their treaties abrogated.
Wow.
Because of that. You know? So tremendous outcomes.
Well, and Warren, as we're, you know, just getting back into the Code Talkers, what was the training process like for individuals that were being a part of our armed forces and utilizing that code? What was the training process like?
It's really hard for me to say that. I mean, I can take it from some of the comments the guides made. They came from rural areas, isolated areas, poor, farmers and so forth, and all of a sudden, their transportation was horse or wagon of some kind, and all of a sudden they're in a modern contemporary world, faced with modern contemporary challenges that they couldn't ride a bus. They didn't know how.
Right.
Think about it. Or go to a grocery store. And what's a checkout stand? What do you do? Oh, you put your groceries here, and they count it up, and then you pay. Well, okay. Well, I mean, this is all new stuff. How do you use a telephone booth? Think about it. If you've never seen it, never used it.
I don't even think I know how to use it.
That's like World War I code talkers.
Well, you're right.
Many of them came from areas that are very desolate. Like, I think there's over 400 Navajo in the World War II Pacific Command overall. And they came from pretty isolated areas, and they had to learn the hard way.
Well, that just makes the story more incredible, because you aren't just, learning the system in which, you're relaying code, but you're also adapting to a completely different world. I mean, I would have never have thought about that.
Well, but the military takes you through basic training.
Okay.
And so, you look at just the Native Americans, but that happened with a lot of rural Americans came from farms that didn't have electricity.
Oh, yeah.
Even in 1971 and 72, we had people in basic training that didn't have electricity when they came to their basic training. It was new to them. So not many. I ran into one personally. But, so again, the military would take you through the basic training, how to shoot, how to salute, and all to do the rest of that. But then again, moving into the code talker, they had to utilize how to use radios. They had to connect with, one would be on a ship, one would be on the beach. I think Warren said we had 17 code talkers on Omaha Beach.
Wow.
I believe 15.
15, okay.
14, 15, and then it became 17 commands.
Yes. And one on the beach would contact someone on the ship, pass the message in their native language. No one could break it. It was like the Germans' Enigma machine, where they went through, but that was our own little personal one.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would pass those messages back and forth, adjust fire and so forth, or move inland, whatever they were doing. But again, the training, the military is pretty good at that. They can take a person with all different type of economic backgrounds, and they can get them into the basic training and bring them out. The ones that can't quite make it will get shaken out at the bottom, but it's a good process.
That, I'm glad we talked about that, because that's something I don't think my generation truly understands, because we're so used to having, these things in front of us and all this technological advancement. But to really go back to that time period and realize how great of a robust system that really is to get everybody on the same page and get everybody ready to go. is incredible. And Warren, I wanted to ask you, what were some of the challenges that code talkers would face whenever they were out on the battlefield, especially on during D-Day?
The code talkers were assigned to command and control, which by its very nature would remain in the rear, ordering troops to go forward and so forth for forward operations to neutralize the enemy. They didn't operate at the very lowest level, although occasionally I'm sure that they did have some presence at a low level or forward contact. But I think, and maybe I'm wrong, you can help me, Colonel Morrill. My experience in the military, working command and control and security and signal intelligence and so forth, is that they would have remained right next to the commander.
Correct. You'd have had one would be with the commander, and then one would be wherever it was in whichever forward element or element near the front where they needed to coordinate, either from a brigade down to a battalion or from a division to a brigade.
Carry the message to the officers that are using it at forward. So you have two levels, at least two levels, and probably a relay level too somewhere.
Correct.
Because the strength of the...
And the interesting thing I learned from Warren was that the Native Americans didn't have all the words necessary that they had to translate.
That's
brand
correct.
new. I mean, tell us about that.
Some of the cultures simply didn't have modern terms like a tank or a submarine. Okay. So the Navajo, and I'm sure the other code talkers from different tribes would say iron turtle for tank.
Wow.
Or for submarine, iron fish, things like that. And that became a standard, we say patois, the language, the common language of code talkers, and was well known too by the using authorities.
That's interesting. And so that almost became a code name just because of the little bit of that barrier there?
Right.
Correct. And in their native language, though. So again, they're not just saying iron tank.
Right.
It's in their native language.
I just remember,
Go ahead.
I've had some familiarity with the Chinese Mandarin language, part of my official duties at one time. When I was in school, we were taught that the Chinese word for jet, airplane, was panshaji. Panshaji means spit, shoot, machine. How about that?
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love it.
I mean, this is humanity. I mean, this is where words come together. The original human being, what did they do? They smell. Yeah. I mean.
That's incredible.
Sure.
Do you guys have 1 minute to stick around just because I haven't taken a break yet?
Yep.
The time's 9:27. Are you looking for a fresh start on the road to recovery? A life free from addiction is possible, and it starts with our friends at Centerstone. Centerstone's a national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment for people of all ages. With a commitment to delivering care that truly changes people's lives, Centerstone's dedicated clinicians use evidence-based practices in their treatment programs. So it means it's not one of those templates from 30 years ago where it might work, it might not. It's tailor-made, and it's based on the latest sciences to truly help you recover in the best step forward. Listen, it's 2024. Addiction can happen to anybody, but the good thing is, so can recovery. You can start working toward your recovery today by visiting Centerstone online at recoverwithus.org. That's recoverwithus.org, or hang out with Centerstone and myself on the first and last Wednesday of each and every month as we tackle this very important topic.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey, Sherry. Talk to me, Dream Team. We've got Joey.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Everything can change. 9:30 on the nose. Welcome back to this 29th day of July. Daily show hitting you on a Monday. And man, we still got a full studio. Mayor Morrow and Warren Goll in studios. We've been talking about just the National Memorial of Military Ascent and plus the Native American contributions during World War II, during D-Day, and just learning more about the Code Talkers. And Warren, whenever I was taking this break, when I came back, there were some questions that I still had about if it was okay. And, you know, what were some of the challenges that Code Talkers would face, especially, you know, just overall, but more specifically, the line of duty, when you have, you know, all the sights and sounds of the battlefield that are hitting you and you know, all the debris that are flying up and everything else that entails. What were some of the ways that they got through that and still made sure they were giving the correct commands and the correct orders?
All I can do is just surmise, okay?
Yeah.
From my own combat experiences, I can kind of, you know, bridge it somewhat. I was asked some years ago about, oh, you're in Vietnam. Were you scared? I said, no. I said, well, how come? Well, I was too afraid to be scared. No, this is, you know, it's a combat. I know, you freeze and you don't even think, you know, how could you, you know, good, this is too big for me. I'm just going to try to get out of here somehow, but for a while, I'm just going to sit here and, hey, you know, you just don't know.
Right.
I would think the bigger challenges for Code Talkers was they didn't have the society that they grew up in, the friends, the life, they recognized the trees, the dogs, the home, the so forth. Their language every day was there. They were in a strange world. So, and they weren't in war all the time. You know, they were basic trainings and so forth, or they're waiting for the deployment. They couldn't go into the community.
Right.
Because they're strange people. Strange looking. They're Indians. They couldn't go out with the rest of the white guys and drink beer or so forth in the community. They weren't allowed. They were restricted.
Were there?
Area. I have had many American Indians friends in the military, and in those days, even when I started in '59, Indian people just didn't go out and drink because there used to be a sign, I remember, outside of one reservation, the whites had put up and said, no dogs, no Indians allowed. That was a reality until not too long ago. So in other words, they were kind of confined to where they were at in the base or whatever, or if they went out, they were small little groups and taking a look, light see, but that was denied to them.
Were there any type of, you know, contribution with everything that's going on there, and that's a whole nother ballgame that I haven't even touched on yet, is with those societal, you know, problems or challenges that they face, were there any type of, or any moment to where maybe, you know, there was a group that maybe set aside, you know, maybe a couple of kegs of beer or a couple of cases of beer for them, or just looked out for them because they were aware of those issues as well? Was that ever the case?
It used to be against the law to give Indian alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah. And if it wasn't a law, it was a custom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. This is very fascinating. to me.
Well, you know, the same thing happened. I was honored this year to give the keynote speech in Alton at the James Killian Park for Mayor Goines and his wife Sheila, and it was a wonderful day. And the same kind of thing happened in World War II to the blacks. Is that there's segregation? They had their own little areas to go, and my speech was going through and looking at his contributions to the war and reading between the lines and looking at his record and so forth. This wonderful man did a lot of good things.
Right.
But again, the same type of thing that the Native Americans ran into is the black community ran into, and I would imagine the Hispanic community the same thing. So, but you know, one of the questions I asked Warren, and I'm going to ask him on air again because he's answered it well, was with all of the problems that were associated with us taking your land, with killing the people, with just the horrible things that happened, the Trail of Tears and everything. Why do the American Indians volunteer for the U.S. military in such large numbers?
Well, of course, one was economical. It gave them an opportunity to leave the reservation, to gain some skills and the dominant culture. For employment and bring some of this back home. Also, there was a point of indemnities and so forth. If they were killed in action and so forth, there may be some benefit given to the family. But I think I feel that the most powerful draw to the military was for them to demonstrate that they were men. Protectors of their community, protectors of their family, protectors of their ancestors, and that they were here to remain. And they've taken on this great challenge of working with the Conqueror's Army, becoming part of them, respected. You know, the greatest respect is to be respected by your enemy.
Wow, that's actually, I have never heard, that's very true.
The enemy becomes your friend, your brother.
Right.
It's this exchange of trust, recognition of honor, bravery. You can adopt them into your family, or they adopt you into their family. This is part of the Indian tradition, and this is a very, very powerful force that gave us the strength to leave home and to go be with the historical problem and to learn from it, gain from it, and what's more, get trust from your former enemy.
Now, were there any...
Those are all really important reasons.
Yes.
But they're not spoken. They're in the heart. They grew up this way.
Were there any tribes that were completely against working with the Americans or the armed forces?
I have no knowledge of that.
Very interesting.
I've never heard of any particular group saying, we will not. One of the reasons is because the basic treaties that had been prepared and agreed to, allowing peace to take place, and the Indians had returned to a livelihood, a way of living that was secure and safe, poor maybe, but secure and safe. They didn't. I couldn't say. Let's put it this way: if you join the military, you become part of that social structure. If you resist joining the military for whatever reason, and you have an agreement with the party of the United States, and they're feeding you or supplying medical, and you say, well, I'd really rather not go. I said, well, we'd rather not honor the treaty either. So you're abrogating the treaty and destroying the protection that you have to survive as a people.
Wow. That's
pretty
powerful.
Really, when you take it all apart, you look at it and say, oh my God, there is no choice. It's your duty to protect that treaty, protect your people, that protects your people.
Well, and Warren, I wanted to ask you about your personal experience, just going back to the first part of the interview with some of the co-talkers. Did you have maybe, and you know, feel free to say, you know, not the time or place, but any personal stories that kind of highlighted their bravery, their dedication, their mindset that you'd be willing to share with us today?
Yes, just back in the 1980s when I first developed severe symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, which later led to becoming 100% VA stress, PTSD combat related, part of my therapy was to contact some former members of my unit, if I could find them. And I did. I found one fellow who was with the 1st 14th Infantry Battalion, which I was supporting back in 1966 in the Central Highlands of Vietnam. And he lived in South Carolina, and he was American Indian. And he knew people that I knew people. I just somehow, I can't remember how it came, but I found his phone number, and we talked, and we had the same language, you know. And his name was Mathers, and we're talking, and he was a medic in the recon platoon. And I had been with that platoon occasionally, off and on, during my tour, you know, for one reason or another, supporting them. And we were talking, and he said, yeah. He said, did you remember Thomas Serrano? And I said, no. He said, well, he used to carry the M60 machine gun on point because he was a strong man. And he said, he was an Indian guy from Minnesota. And I said, he was a medic? He said, yeah. I said, well, you didn't only stay with the recon platoon, you supported other platoons within the company, right? Yeah. Where is he now? Oh, he said he was killed in the Battle of Dragon Gulch. I said, as a medic? He said, then I said, oh my God, I know this is what happened. And Thomas Serrano was a medic. Wow. And he was assigned to support, I think it was Charlie Company of the 1st 14th Infantry. And this was during the Battle of Dragon Crater near the Cambodian border in the Central Highlands. And it was a horrifying 3 weeks. It was just everything went wrong. But nonetheless, the best came out of men. And Thomas Serrano gave his life. The company commander, Captain Federline, who was descended from the famous Federline, an Indian fighter.
Yep.
That was his great-grandfather. Wow. He was shot. The company commander was shot by a sniper in a tree. The bullet entered to the upper part of the body, not a straight shot, but the upper part. He was laying on the ground. One medic, there was a medic nearby, came up, tried to see what was wrong. I'm emotional right now. He was shot, killed, fell on the company commander who was alive, cautious. Thomas was there. He went to help both the dying medic and the company commander. Company commander was yelling at him, get away, get away, get away. Thomas continued. The sniper killed him.
Oh my God.
He fell over the body of the commander.
Yeah,
I heard all this when
man.
it was happening. I could hear the RTO, the radio transmitter operator. Wow. I've been looking for his family for years. He was from Kelly Lake, Minnesota, a copper mining town that's closed down a mine. And I found out where he's buried. I want to make a trip there now. I found out the last couple of years.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was utterly gave his life.
How incredible. I mean, what an incredible man. I mean, just incredible. And, you know, Mayor Morrow, as we're getting back and just talking about the importance of having this type of memorial, too, and we're hearing some of these stories, just, you know, different battles, but regardless, the fact of the matter is that, you know, during D-Day, we had so many brave thousands, tens of thousands of brave people that went out there and stormed those beaches in Normandy, knowing that they were facing an uphill battle. And to hear about the contributions of the code talkers, the Native American code talkers, how important was it for you to make sure that every embodiment of D-Day, of World War II, of that moment was encapsulated in what you guys were doing in Grafton?
Well, it's not just that moment. It's all of the veterans. And so one of the things that we've done when we got the foundry together, and they've been already making the statues and so forth, that's in process. But they told us early on, this is such a project because they did their homework. They said, this is the only project like this in the world.
Wow.
With the 12 life-size bronze statues, the cliff and so forth. So they said, you really need to think about a documentary. Mm-hmm. So what we did is we did our research. We hired a documentary crew out of Michigan. They come down periodically and they do their documentaries and so forth. And what they've also lined, they have a friend up there whose name is Dr. James Smither, and he's a professor at one of the universities, and he has the veterans program that they're working. And he does interviews with veterans to capture it for his program, but also to submit to the Library of Congress.
Wonderful.
For a permanent record. So he comes down. He was down with our documentary crew this week. This last week was a busy week. We had the house full of folks with Warren and the documentary crew and Dr. Smither, and he interviewed 6 veterans while he was here. And he'll be coming down every couple of months, and we're lining up veterans through our Post 648, the American Legion, and other folks in town, because Grafton has 17% of the population are veterans, the largest per capita in the state of Illinois. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to capture their stories, and not just the stories of the ones that were in combat.
Right.
Everyone's stories. I mean, the stories of the people that just went in for a year, for 2 years, what it meant to them. So that, again, when their kids and grandkids can look that up and say, well, this is Grandpa. Look what he did. You know, he did this, he did that in his own words. So we're doing that with this memorial, and that's also going to be a part of our memorial.
And now, are you going to be releasing maybe a press release on when the documentary team comes into town, or how does that work in case maybe there's some folks that have some stories that maybe you would like to hear?
We've right now they come in for the Dr. Smither will be in for like about 2 or 3 days, mm-hmm. and we have people lined up. And so what we're doing, I'm working with the commander of the American Legion, John Hughes, and he's setting up folks for us and people that we know. And so we have a plethora of people to pick from, and as the pickings get slim down the road, we'll be looking. But no, now. Or they can come see us at the city hall, and we'll line up and get their name.
Well, and I also wanted to ask about just, and I always like to do this every time we talk. As you can see, I still have my beautiful folder.
It looks great.
We talk a lot about this. Well, and one thing I always like to point out is, you know, I feel like my generation, you hit on this with having those stories and really, because I feel like my generation needs to realize that, you know, their relative, their aunt, uncle, grandfather, great-grandfather had the passion of every American hero that was going into the front lines, or maybe not even going onto the front lines. When they see that, what do you think that does for their passion just to, you know, keep the American story going? Because I think passion's what we're really needing.
Most of the veterans won't talk about their service, and a lot of the kids won't ask, and so they pass on and nobody knows. So, and the other thing is not just the veterans, but World War II and all those, it was an entire nation that was at war. Even the kids were involved with scrap drives, paper drives, tin drives. They had rationing on the automobiles. They had stickers.
Little snaps at school.
All of those are things that they did, and just the war industry gearing up. A lot of people were not allowed to go to war because they were either a farmer producing agricultural products, they were either had an industry, either in the war industry. A lot of the Rosie the Riveter took over a lot of those jobs, but there were a lot of people in copper mining and nickel mining and so forth. Those rare metals that we needed, that they were not classified to go to the shooting war. Their job was to stay there and produce the products. So it was an entire effort, and we always think about the point of the spear, which Warren was at. But one of those, when you look back, the spear gets very large behind it. All that support organization, it has to keep that spear moving forward.
That's just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's what we're capturing here, is when we look at the factor with representing all the services and that.
Well, and that's why I wanted to bring it up too, because, you know, just like everyone, you know, contributing at all hands on deck during World War II at all facets of our country, you know, here is something I always like to bring up too, where, you know, even if you might not be directly tied into this memorial, there's always a way to really help support it, so that folks from around the country, and they will do this, will come on in to really take a look. Is there ways that we can financially contribute to this
absolutely.
project?
You go to graftonmemorial.org, graftonmemorial.org, and right on the front page it sums up. You can any amount is great, but for $1,000 you can become a sponsoring member, and we're only taking 5,000 of those. When that's done, then it turns into contributing members and so forth. But as a sponsoring member, your name will be a part of that memorial in perpetuity, or the name of the loved one that you want for that.
That's wonderful. And right here, guys, we're going to go on the screen real quick just so you can see it at home. This is the website, the National Memorial Military Ascent. Right here, you can see donate.
Go down, scroll a little bit more.
Even further. Okay.
There you go,
right
there
here.
You go, there you go. Right there on the front page. Whoop.
Got to go back.
There's your spot. Be a founding member. $1,000. Get your uncle, your aunt, or your organization. On there.
It's just wonderful. And you know, real quick too, are there any more scans that are going to be going down this year for the memorial, or are those?
No,
all
we
done?
did all 12 of the statues in the first week of June. The Foundry came out here, and those right now are being finished up in North Carolina. They're going to go to Portland, Oregon, where they're going to put through the 3D printer. They'll get the process there. Those sections will go back to North Carolina, and they'll start putting those together for the casting process. This digital process cuts out 1 year of that time. So in other words, the 2-year process is down to 1 year, and it cuts the price in half.
That's incredible.
I love that because everybody can help with that. So your dollars are very important. Get on the website, contribute. If you don't have $1,000 for that, save it up. But also, even I had a woman at the end of the library speech. She came up, and she goes, "I want to make a donation." She reached in her wallet and took out $10. And I says, great. So, you know, every contribution, made her write it down. We're going to give her a tax credit. It's a 501c3. Also wrote her a personal note from the president of the organization, me. Thank you so much. And she was talking about, I want to get more when I get it. And I said, well, God bless you.
Yeah.
God bless you.
And I love it. All hands on deck, and every little bit will go a long way, you know?
Honor, remember, and as Warren would say, educate. All our children, so that they know.
Warren, I'm going to tell you this, sir. This has been so much fun for me just to sit here and just learn from you, because I went into this, and I even told Sydney before I got down here, I went, I don't know a lot about what I'm going to talk about today, so I'm going to shut up and listen.
It's amazing how much you learn.
Isn't it? Well, Warren, Mayor Morrill, thank you guys so much. And for all of you that have been tuned in for the last 50 minutes, this was a great conversation. You can catch it on RiverBender.com and Roku TV just a little bit after 11:30 today. But before I take a quick break, speaking of Hainer Library, get your library card, because you can unlock access to presentations just like Warren gave a couple of weeks ago. You know what? Hainer Library, it's a door to adventure, a door to knowing, a door to discovery, where you can utilize the genealogy department and discover your family's roots. Now, do you know about the library things they got down there?
Oh, yeah.
This is the coolest thing, where, you know, your kid's got a math final and the calculator breaks, but you only need it that one time. Instead of going to Walmart, paying the $300, and then fighting it in the return line the next day, you can rent it for free at Hainer Library with your library card.
Beautiful.
And there's so many things like that, whether it's ghost hunting equipment or one of those stand mixers for baking. They got it all. Plus now with their seed library, you get native seeds for your garden for free with your library card, plus all the other benefits I've said thousands of times. All you need to do is go to HainerLibrary.org, HainerLibrary.org, click on the How Do I tab, get a library card, click Confirm, and you're good to go. Plus, join Mary Cordes and myself on the first and last Monday of each and every month as we go beyond the show. Mark your calendars for August 9th as Scotty McCreery is live at the Alton Amphitheater, celebrating the release of Rise and Fall, out now.
And tickets are on sale now.
Hear your favorites like This Is It.
This is now, this is what I've been talking about. Looking out.
And the new hit, Cab in a Solo.
Can't believe what I just saw.
Get your tickets now at metrotix.com.
Get paid to go solar.
We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
I had had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready? Future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville. Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Welcome back, 10-11. Is it Wednesday? Oh, God. It's been such a long week.
It has been.
Or a long summer, I guess. But, coming up this weekend, it's a busy weekend in downtown Alton. You got the concert Friday night with the amphitheater, but also on Saturday, we're rocking the hops yet again. How many years is this in a row now?
This is our 7th installment. We did take a few years off during the pandemic.
COVID. Yeah, dang it. I think COVID year always gets me,
It gets you, yeah.
Well, and what was the reason for starting Rock the Hops?
It's kind of a lot of things. Primarily, at the time, there was the big gig that was put on by Alton Main Street. And that, I guess, had seen its heyday, and Sarah McGivney approached Drew to come up with an idea of something that could take its place. I had been thinking of something that I wanted to do here in town. I said, can I come sit in on this meeting? I've got this idea. So I did, and presented Rock the Hops. It was the first festival of its kind to combine all those channels of culture, and Sarah loved the idea. We did it that first year through Alton Main Street, and then the next year we were just off on our own.
That's really cool. Well, and how has it evolved through the years? Because I can only tell by now, it's almost streamlined because you got everything under your belt, and everyone's really on the same page. But starting out, was it like that? Do you have some learning curves?
Yeah, there's always learning curves. The biggest thing at the beginning, we had check-in at Elijah P's at the time. And because there were so many people there at once, that beer was gone very quickly. So we learned right away, well, we can't have check-in at a venue. Rivers and Routes has been great to us over the years, and they let us use the visitor center, which makes perfect sense, just a general location for check-in.
Well, and it has a really nice appeal to it, just aesthetically too, because even though I haven't really gone and been a part of the actual, tour and going through Rock the Hops, I do gotta come. It's seeing the town all kind of lit up, in a different way, and having those banners banners out and seeing everyone kind of walking about and just enjoying the day is really cool.
It is a lot of fun. It's a very positive environment. People are really generous and engaged.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of folks don't normally have experience with local original bands, and this is a day for them to see the artists that live here and the artists that create here. And it's really cool. It's really important to introduce our town to those creatives.
Right. Well, and you know, and on top of that all too, Hope, is I'm looking at the lineup here now, and just the amount of acts that are coming in and being a part of the event is huge. And what I think's amazing too is we don't realize how many folks around here are really talented as musicians or even artists, you know, too. Add that in the mix. But it really comes to life with Rock the Hops. How easy was it to find all these artists?
That's the easiest
That's
part.
what I was gonna. I knew I was gonna get it.
The bands are pretty easy. I mean, that's my wheelhouse. That is Drew's wheelhouse. We're both musicians. We play in a band. We've played in local bands for decades now. So that comes, you know, with my eyes closed, essentially.
Right.
There's so much talent. We open it up for submissions early in the spring, and we are usually overwhelmed with applicants, if you will. And then it's just, the hard part is just choosing what will fit that year. We have to think of, you know, being diverse and not having all of the same type of music. We like to choose, you know, not only Alton musicians, but Metro East, St. Louis, of course. So just regional representation. And we like it to be like really reflective of what's actually going on in the music scene currently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm seeing there's 25 different bands. That
27.
27.
Year.
That's incredible. And also Rock Crown, who is playing at 6 to 6:45, Flock Food Truck Park and Bar. Just to plug the show, they're going to come on Friday because they're actually opening for the Marshall Tucker Band at the Illinois State Fair this on the 13th.
I did know that. Yeah.
That's so cool, isn't that? But you know, look at this. Hold on, guys. Go on the scene with me here, and let's go to the RockTheHopsAlton.com website. Look at this. It's like overwhelming with the amount of musicians you have. And then let's scroll down a little bit just to the actual lineup here and go through it if we could.
Yeah.
Who is let's just go down the lineup. Who's coming up on each day at each location?
Oh, babe. Okay, we've got 5 venues this year: Bossa Nova, the Old Bakery Beer Co., Conservatory, Flock, and Ragin' Cajun. And we're hitting about 5 or 6 bands at each location. We've got some great ones. We've got hip hop, we've got rock, jazz, country, folk, Americana, punk rock. I'm just seeing all sorts of things. Like, who do you want to point out?
Right. Well, I want to point out all. Here, let's do this. And honestly, at Bossa Nova, you got those two at 2:15 to 3 o'clock, followed by Elliot Pearson, Darian Poe, who's wonderful, 4:45. Doug Rafferty is of Judge Nothing, Alton's infamous Judge Nothing. Yeah, and he'll be doing he'll be doing a solo act. He'll do some Judge songs, of course, and some of his originals. And he's just super incredible, super talented, so humble. Doug is just great to work with every year. And then also wrapping up Bossa Nova at 7:15 to 8 o'clock that night on August the 10th is Catching the Westbound. I haven't seen them before, but are they pretty good?
They are great too. Like folk, singer-songwriter, Americana. I tell you what, at Bossa Nova, with the exception of those two I haven't seen live, one of the members of that duo is actually in Lofty's Comet. So that's going to be great. But there's some great vocalists at Bossa Nova that day, which is really exciting.
Well, and too, I mean, it's just a great setting for that type of music as well inside Bossa Nova.
Yeah.
Getting into Old Bakery Beer Company, who's just wonderful. The Trophy Mules will take place at 2:30 to 3:15. Autumn Clock, who's Hope and Therapy's great too.
That would
just
be
wanted
me.
to throw that out there.
Thank you.
And you guys play 5 to 5:30?
We do, yeah.
Followed by Joel, who is 6 to 6:45. Trevor May and the Nomads, wonderful, by the way, 7:15 to 8 o'clock.
I'm excited about them as well. They're a group that's new to me, and they're younger, and I just love their energy. I'm super excited.
It's really cool, though, to know that there's just so many. I mean, these are talented bands. It's not like Uncle Jim's Garage Trio. That's just playing away. These are talented musicians, and what's the most important part for you? Is it showcasing the arts and showcasing the music scene, or is it the community celebration?
It's both.
Okay.
I think it's really important that we take time to listen to creatives' point of view
Yeah.
They have a very unique point of view. And we really need to just give them platforms so we can allow them to express themselves. I mean, it's healthy to do so, and just it makes a world of difference, honestly.
Yeah.
But the community aspect of it, like I said, everything's just so positive and carefree that day. I've gotten to know so many residents that I didn't know before simply through Rock the Hops. We've met musicians that have moved here because of Rock the Hops. So it's just great. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just really is. And as we're keeping going down the music lineup, just to make sure we can add them all into our write-up,
Of course.
the Conservatory has 1781 starting at 2:15 to 2:45 on August the 10th. Chain Stay 3:15 to 3:45. Now,
Rotten.
I like it. Okay, good band name. Good band name. 4:15 to 4:45. They need machines to fly. Well, good question. 5:15 to 5:55. What type of music?
Post-punk. They Need Machines to Fly. Actually, one of my favorite bands of the day.
Really?
Yeah, I caught them. They played last year, and I was awestruck. Yeah,
I'll be
just
damned.
so inspired.
Really cool. Following them is Future Modern, 6:10 to 6:50, and then Cicada?
Ring Cicada, also a local legend. Ring Cicada hasn't played, I think it's been 2 decades now. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
That's a big one.
That's super cool. That's really cool. And then, like we said at Flock, I Like Snaps, 2:15 to 3 o'clock at Flock Food Truck Park and Bar. Andrew Ryan and the Levy, 3:30 to 4:15. Lofty's Common, who of course is amazing, 4:45 to 5:30. Rock Crown, 6 to 6:45. Olive, 7:15 to 8 o'clock. What type of music is Olive rocking?
I would just say like indie rock, with a little bit of punk undertones, perhaps. What I've seen from them has been great.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And then finally, we talk with Ragin' Cajun Piano Bar, the Down Bads, 2:15 to 3 o'clock. And then I've seen this a couple of times now with Diesel. Is that correct? Is it?
Diesel.
And I heard this is pretty good stuff over there that's coming out.
I haven't seen Diesel live, so I'm excited to catch that if I can. I'm going to be
Yeah, you're going to be
bouncing
kind of
around.
busy. I might have to pop in and sneak in.
Yeah, from what I can understand, he's going to have a backing band that day with some names here in town that I'm familiar with, so it should be great.
That's really cool. Mobile Alien Research Unit, 4:25 to 5:05. Odd Soul and the Sound, 5:30 to 6. I love super fun Yeah rocket ship. I didn't think I would. Can I just be honest here? I thought we'll see what happens.
Right.
Oh my God! Like I had the time of my life for an hour at that Alton Talent Show.
Oh, that's where you come.
And
okay.
just wonderful.
Yeah. Well, then you got to get to this one. He put out a great little reel yesterday that involves the Pious Hubbard, and it's just like, this is amazing. He's
wonderful.
Right.
And then Birds of Squalor, 7:30 to 8 o'clock as you wrap up the night at Ragin' Cajun Piano Bar or one of the fine stops. You know, is it pretty easy to get the bars on board?
It is. We have a lot of interest every year, and we do have to turn some venues down, just depending on the year, you know, what kind of talent we're going to have. And we've had up to 8 venues in the past. Last year was our first year back after the pandemic, and we were like, let's ease into it. Let's do 5. And it was great. So we thought, we're going to do 5 again this year. You know, so we did have to turn a few down. That's just the name of the game. You know, this
Right.
is something that I've thought over the years, it could be huge. You know, I've dreamt of ways to grow this. There are many ways to do so, but right now, it is what it is, and we're going to stick with the 5 venues.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and now tickets, are they still available?
Tickets are available at the venues, and
Uh-oh.
if you want them, you have to go today to get a ticket at the venue. I haven't made an announcement. We did sell out online, I think 2 days ago, actually.
Wow.
I opened up some reserves. I checked this morning, there were 6 left. I can't put any more tickets online, so you have to go to the venues today to get a ticket.
There you go. So stop by one of the 5, correct?
One of the 5, they've all got them.
There you go. From Bossa Nova, the Old Bakery Beer Company, Conservatory, Flock, Ragin' Cajun. You got to go or you're going to miss out this year. And Hope, it's always good to talk with you.
Thank
and,
you.
know, best of luck this weekend. I hope I get to see you out and about. And I hope this turns out to be a really good success yet again.
Thanks so much.
For more information, go to rockthehopsalton.com and we'll link everything on an article on RiverBender.com. More of our daily show after this. Mark your calendars for August 9th as Scotty McCreery is live at the the Alton Amphitheater, celebrating the release of Rise and Fall, out now.
And tickets are on sale now.
Hear your favorites like This Is It.
This is now. This is what I've been talking about. Looking out.
And the new hit, Cab in a Solo. Get your tickets now at metrotix.com.
Get paid to go sober.
We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready? Future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville. Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Dibs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts No. 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit villagedispo.com and shop now.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
There was some different, speaking of dancing, Queen, the hip-hop, break dancing, yeah.
Did that start yet? Or
I
is that
don't know.
Still? Okay. I knew it was August. I knew it was one of the later
I've been getting in a lot of trouble. I have not watched a single Olympic event.
What?
I've just been I honestly have been so busy I haven't turned on the television.
Oh, I ended up, this feels like a commercial. I got the Peacock app just so I could watch whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted it. Well, I'm going to cancel it after the Olympics are over.
Do you got a Lacy promo code we can give people to?
Right, not trying to do it, but it's been great. Because then you can watch all the sports that aren't necessarily highlighted.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny
time.
is I'm more of a Winter Olympics guy now. I used to love the Summer Olympics, but ever since Michael Phelps is no longer there, I'm not a big swimming fan anymore.
Well, we've still got Katie
Ledecky,
yes, and I love the track and field events. I love the the gymnastics. And my favorite part about the Olympics is just the care that everybody has for each other. Like when they're congratulating people from other countries and everybody's a good sport, and like seeing people's moms on TV. I love all that.
So real quick, if you guys are going, CJ, why is Lacy's on? You're running behind. We understand Dallas Martz, which I just had a little ding come in going, is Dallas still on? No. Dallas will come on in a couple of minutes, and my apologies for being a little bit later, but I got to ask you this, Lacy. From what I've seen of the Olympics this year, it has been zero about the results. It's on social media. It's been more about different things that have nothing to do with the sport technically.
Okay, well then you shouldn't be talking to me about it because that's what I like. I like all the stories. Yeah. I like the how people ended up in the sport stuff.
Oh yeah, no, not that.
Oh.
I'm talking about people being disqualified from events, people judging each other in outfits.
Okay.
It's been really kind of enough for me. You know, that's why I'm serious about this.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, you know, I'm scrolling on my feed and I'm like, come on. You know, these guys are probably embarrassed, and girls are just trying to compete in their sport. And here's, you know, the 45-year-old that hasn't been to a gym in 8 years.
Armchair experts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just amazing to me. But in 1924, I'm assuming that the outfits looked a lot different, the warm-ups looked a lot different, and the event looked a lot different. Am I on to something?
I think a lot of events looked a lot different. I mean, even more recently than the 1924, when you look at like old gymnastics competitions from like the 70s, you know, it's completely different. So yeah, we've really changed in a lot of ways. One of my favorite things that I learned, I think I learned this at the Missouri History Museum with their 1904 Olympics exhibit years ago, but the Olympics used to have an artistic component as well. So you could be competing in the Olympics in architecture or in painting. And one of the really cool things about Helen Wills, well, you know, we're always adding new things now.
It's interesting.
And so Helen was an incredible artist as well as tennis player. And she actually had her paintings at least one painting in the 1932 Summer Olympics. So then she wasn't competing as an athlete in a sport, she was competing in the artistic component of it.
What, was it just the event called painting?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that is
really... I think it was just called painting because there were different ones. But so there were people that would compete in different things. And I think a lot of the topics of the artistic events were related to sports. And so it would be like a painting of an athlete or architecture related to sports complexes, that kind of thing. So I'm not totally sure because there's a lot less out there about the artistic components. And another interesting thing, so tennis was a sport in the 1924 Olympics, but then it was not again until 1988. So it was taken out as a medal event in the Olympics, and there was still Wimbledon, and there was still the French Open, US Open, all of that, but it wasn't an Olympic event, and now it is again. So sometimes they had an event, took it out, and then brought it back.
So Wills was the women's national champion and a favorite for the Olympics.
Yes.
She won a gold in singles and women's doubles.
Yes.
That Olympics?
In the 1924 Olympics, she won the singles medal, gold medal, and then with her partner, she won Hazel Hotchkiss Whiteman. She won the women's doubles as well.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm looking here, and it says in the Alton Evening Telegraph in 22 described her plain and personality. This is not a flapper story, though the heroine, Helen Wills, is just 16 years old. The approved flapper age, this young person is very Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
What's that mean? What does that mean?
Anyone that talks to me for an extended period of time gets to hear my sort of like rant against the rant of kids today. So I love quotes like this because it shows you that in every generation, there's this immense disapproval for the next generation that's coming up. Like,
I got you.
They just don't understand. And then they grow up and then they do the same thing to the next generation. So I try really, really hard never to, because life is just different, but to never like say like, oh, you don't understand how hard I had it, or you don't understand the morals or values or whatever, because we're all living our lives in different times. And so you can't do that comparison. And also your parents were doing it about you. So if you didn't like it, why would you do that to the next generation of people? And I know that, there's always a shifting and we all have to kind of figure that out together. But one of my coworkers had said something about, kids today. And so I went back to the 80s, the 60s, and the 1920s to find the exact quote, a complaint about kids today.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
that'd be a great art gallery.
Yeah. Like the same sentiment, but through different time. And then the 1920s one was young people today instead of kids today. But yeah. And this is off topic, but the one from the 60s or the 70s, I think, like the person was writing, it was a teenager, and they were writing into like Ann Landers or whatever. And they were like, my dad talks about how when he was a kid, he like got up and milked the cows every morning. He complains that I'm lazy. And he's like, but we live in an apartment. Like I can't go milk the cows. I don't know how to. So I think there's that too. Like we have these complaints about the next generation, but they don't have the same lives or opportunities or ways to be helpful or useful that like maybe you did.
So real quick though,
Yeah.
I know getting back into in 1924, athletes from the United States won 99 medals in all, 45 of them gold. Finland comes in second.
Yes.
Okay, name me in the last 100 years when Finland has come in the top 5 in medals. But that's not the Winter Olympics.
Right. I don't even know if they've won any this year.
Oh, well.
Maybe they have.
I hope so.
I
know, but it just kind of, it is sad when you see
someone. Well, and you know what? I love when Americans win, but I also really like it when people from countries that don't have a high medal count
who was the one that won the first gold medal for their country this time around?
Well, there was St. Lucia
that's what I'm
in
talking
running,
about.
and then there was a woman in gymnastics that won. I love that.
Well, now, did people care about the Olympics like we do today?
Oh, yeah.
Like, seriously, did they really?
Yeah, they seemed to. There were all kinds of articles. The hardest part, actually, about this was me narrowing it down to a specific topic, because I just started looking.
You did a really good job.
Thank you.
Because when I read it at first, I started getting confused, and I went, wait a minute, I get what she's doing now, because there's so much to hone in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You did a great job.
Well, thank you. Yeah, because I was like, I'm going to look up the Olympics in 1924 and see. And then it was overwhelming with how much there was.
And just a sad note, Helen did die in 1998.
Well, I mean, she was in her 90s, I think. So
well, it's still sad.
But she had a pretty good long life first.
I just had to bring it down a little bit,
I get sad about people dying if they're young, if it's tragic, that kind of thing. But she was playing tennis into her 80s. Like, and she was also, this was really fun. She was the first American female athlete to enjoy international stardom. Like, she was like
was she really?
Yeah,
wow.
a celebrity. And one of the cool things, the photo I have just of her in the article is from the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, the French Bibliothèque Nationale de France. And I'm sorry for screwing that up so greatly. But, yeah.
I love it.
I think it would be even worse if I tried to do I took French in high school. I should be able to do that.
Oh, no,
accent,
you should see it. When I do On This Day in History, like when I go down, I just give up. I just seriously start just phoning it in. I'm like, well, I get called out by my friends in England all the time for Yorkshire and Yorkshire and all that stuff. Man, not worth it.
If it's a name, a place name, I try to study, and then I look for pronunciations online, but I didn't do that this morning. So anyway, they had a lot of photos of her in France.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't just from this Olympics, from the Paris Olympics. It was, the photo I used, I think, was from 1932. So it was after that time period, they were still taking photos of her in other countries.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I like it. So your takeaway 100 years ago?
Well, I like to see how things change and how things stay the same. So we were all excited about the Olympics in 1924 in Paris, and we were consuming the Olympics in a very different way. So now, we have all these memes, we have the people that we see internet articles about, and then it was similar, but it was just in the newspaper. It was people talking about it on the street. And then the photo at the top that's what you're talking about with the different outfits and stuff. When they came back victorious, they were all wearing their much more covered up, formal, hatted outfits. So, and the difference, you could look at an athlete, like a swimmer or a boxer or whatever in those time periods, and there's a difference just in like how much more training they have now.
Yeah, they're ton.
Yeah.
Well, and now what are you writing about this week?
I am writing about the formation of Temple Israel in 1923, 1924. So Temple Israel was a Jewish synagogue in Alton, and they lived. They had buildings in several different places before closing in 2020. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the formation and then how it all came to be and how the legacy lives on a little bit.
I love it. There we go. Lacy McDonald, we did it again. And we'll talk again next Wednesday at 10:10, and we'll have a little bit more time, too.
Okay.
We'll take a quick break. More of our daily show hits you next right after this. Mark your calendars for August 9th as Scotty McCreery is live at the Alton Amphitheater, celebrating the release of Rise and Fall, out now.
And tickets are on sale now.
Hear your favorites like This Is It.
This is now. This is what I've been talking about. Looking out.
And the new hit, Cab in a Solo. Get your tickets now at metrotix.com.
Get paid to go solar.
We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville. Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Clonuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit villagedispo.com and shop now.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Welcome back, 10:43, and I know I'm way the hell late, but that's okay. Good conversations are always worth the wait. Dallas Martz, Kurt Russell in studio. How are we doing today?
Absolutely wonderful. How about yourself?
Hanging in there, rolling with the punches.
There you go. You got to do that.
It's been a season for the River Dragons, you know?
Yeah.
Sinkholes and all, and now we're at the point where we're saying, well, we'll look forward to next year. But, Dallas, right off the bat, man, with you leaving and the news kind of breaking that this is your final time around the horn here in Alton, what is your kind of thoughts as the season's over now and it's now time to move forward?
Yeah, the season was a crazy one. The whole experience in Alton overall was unbelievable for me personally and professionally, and enjoyed how the community welcomed me in almost 4 years ago to the day today, and we had some fun. Every bit of it was fun. I know this past summer was a bit crazy with the sinkhole and losing our home field, but we battled through it, and it was another great group of River Dragons in for 2024, and it was just even with the sinkhole, it was a fun year.
And, bringing in, international players, too, from Taiwan, and then, of course, international coaches from Australia. Kurt, take me through your time with the team. This was your first experience with the River Dragons. What was it like?
Oh, it was pretty good. Obviously, first time in the country for myself, so thanks to Dallas for bringing us out here. But obviously faced a lot of adversity this year with everything that was going on, and it's a really good group of kids, quite a young group of kids, too, in regards to overall college experience. And what we're able to put together was probably a pretty solid season, not quite enough to get to the postseason, but like the culture of that team, and they could have had plenty of reasons just to roll over and just say it is what it is and finish right down the bottom. But they pretty much fought it out to the end, walked off the last game of the season, and it just testament to the culture that's been built over a few years behind Dallas.
And that's a great point, too, because seeing the team, this year, everyone was on the front step of the dugout, it seemed like all season long, and just the camaraderie. And, Dallas, I saw in a different article that, you have 2 daughters, but now you have almost 300, sons. What's it like as you're kind of looking back 4 years and all those guys that have walked through the dugout and really helped bring the River Dragons to the point they are at today?
It's part of it's definitely the most emotional part of it for me, looking back at our very first year when you had Blake Burris, Mike Hampton, Bryce Zupan, and Adam Stiltz. I call them the kind of the core 4. They were the 4 guys that were with us our first 2 seasons and helped lead the charge for that championship run when we when we were lucky enough to get Eric Brockmeyer on our team in 2022, and of course he still to the day has the biggest hit in River Dragon history. But looking back at all those guys, not just from those first couple of rosters, but the 2022 roster, obviously very special with the championship run like that, and then in 2023 and this past season, every roster has brought a new face of the River Dragons, and I could go on and on about who all those people are, but it's just it's been an incredible experience, and I don't plan on just cutting those people out of my life. I follow almost all of them on social media, and like I've told them at the end of every season, I'm always going to be a fan of them, and always going to be cheering for them, and look forward to seeing what they do with the rest of their lives.
A big takeaway too of your time just in Alton, ever since with the team, is you became an advocate for the city, and that's something I really wanted to make a point of. Whether you were meeting with potential sponsors or different business partners, the NCBAA, and all the work that you did with the college level of things, and with recruiting coaches and different personnel, you really put Alton as this, just from what I saw, this really great place, and really sold it. I mean, it is, but you became that person to fight for it. And, was that something you planned on doing, or was that something that just kind of happened organically, part of your routine?
Definitely just kind of happened organically. With taking a job like this, for me anyway, I wasn't really sure what I was getting myself into. And when we started it, we were right in the middle of COVID. There was a lot of uncertainty in the whole world at that point. But Alton quickly became home. It became an area that I was proud to be living and feel like I'm from there now. And River and Routes last year gave me an opportunity to go on the road and kind of talk about the community and talk about the resources that we have to bring bigger events into the Riverbend area. And so it's I've enjoyed my time here, and I'm proud of my time here.
Well, and also too, I want to follow up on that with Lloyd Hopkins Field and some of the improvements. But Kurt, I wanted to ask you about your time in Alton, because this is a different place. I've been to a lot of places, and it's like, how do you describe it? You can't. You just got to go and see it for yourself. What's your time in Alton been like? Did you enjoy it? What's your favorite stop been?
It's different. It's definitely different from anything I'm used to. It's a very different makeup to what we have back home, where like our metro area spans for a few hours, where it's just houses on end. And,
oh wow!
Yeah, so to come here and have a small town next to small town next to small town, it's a bit of a different experience. So it's been a bit of a learning curve in that regard, and seeing kind of the place changes between day and night, and it can kind of be two separate towns at some point, depending on where you are and what you're doing. But it's definitely got a lot of history. It's got a lot of culture. The people, man, the people here are so welcoming. Like it didn't matter where I go, where Dallas took me, where he pulled me along. Like every time I rocked up, there was someone there welcoming, happy to tell me all about the town, the history, what's going on, and get to understand me and my background. And it's pretty welcoming to come to a place and kind of feel like I've been here 3 months, and it feels like I've kind of been here a lot longer with the way everyone's greeted me and welcomed me in.
Oh, 100%. And now, did you have a favorite stop along the way? Was there one that you always had to keep going back to, restaurant-wise, or any spot around the Riverbend-wise?
Oh, probably spent a bit of time at Cat Daddy's.
Good answer. That's a great answer. You're rubbing off on him well, Dallas. Yeah. And Dallas, getting back to this part of the conversation with Lloyd Hopkins Field, one of the most cherished baseball facilities, not only in Alton, but in the Metro East, really. And when the River Dragons came in, seeing some of the improvements that were made, that's a really big bit, to me, is the most important thing, because high schools play out there, club teams play out there. It's special to you to be able to develop a place that did have that legacy already attached to it, but also to truly enhance it for not just your team, but also the youth in the area too.
Yeah, I've told this story many times. When I first moved here, of course, I was learning the history of that field.
Right.
I didn't know very much about it at the time. But I moved here in September, and I know it was the week of Thanksgiving. I drive out to the field to do something, and there's a gentleman standing on home plate out there. Well, I had no idea who it was. I was still new in town, and I just went out and started a conversation with him. And come to find out, he's from Alton. He grew up in Alton. He played baseball here in Alton growing up, and he lives out on the West Coast now, and he comes back for Thanksgiving to see family. And he told me that every time he comes back, he goes out there and stands on that field because he grew up playing there. He has many memories of playing out there. And I knew from that story from him and other people's stories that I was hearing along the way, I knew there was a lot of history there was a lot of memories on that field. And that became very important to me, to take care of the field the best we could and make it better. We with the help of the city, we put turf in there. We put a new scoreboard with video board. We added a big party pavilion in the back thanks to Jason Bruno and his team. The speed pitch display and everything. But while we were doing that, all of those people's memories, stay out there, and those people still continue to come out, and they're amazed, with what we've done to the place. There's people that still wish we had grass and dirt, but just economically, we just couldn't do it anymore. And but the turf field and all the other upgrades that happened over the last 4 years, and more upgrades hopefully in the future, and it's a good place to play baseball.
You
for sure.
sold me on the turf. I'm not gonna lie, because I wasn't a big turf guy. I like the grass and the dirt, but man, it's something about it just looks really cool, and the way it plays true.
Yeah,
it plays true.
That first year when we were on grass and dirt, there was the Lloyd Hopkins hop, in the infield. So, but we definitely took care of that come year two.
Well, one thing that I thought was really fascinating was just having a few guys from Taiwan and seeing the meetings on the mound and seeing the interactions in the dugout. Kurt, from your firsthand experience, what was it like kind of blending all these cultures together in that River Dragons dugout in the clubhouse?
Yeah, I had a little bit of experience with that last year. My Spanish is terrible, and we had a few non-speaking Dominics on our team last year, so I've kind of had to get averse to using a translator app to teach hitters. So it wasn't my first rodeo in that regard, and I think we got about halfway through the season, and then we especially with Jackie, we kind of banned the translator app in the dugout and made him learn English. We'd just sit there and point and a lot of hand expressions until he figured out what the hell we were talking about. So he kind of ran with it a little bit. He knows a lot more English than he came here with, but like the boys embraced those too. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, you probably saw every time Jackie got a hit, the dugout got pretty rowdy.
Yeah,
it was an interesting culture. Like the whole team in general, everyone gels pretty well. Like it's one of the few times you get baseball, especially like at that type of age, where there's no cliques and everyone's kind of just around each other, all playing sack before the game, and it was really, really tight group this year.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask both of you about, because just my time on the soccer teams in college and all that, you do have the cliques, and it becomes some playing environments aren't fun to be a part of. But it's not the case here with especially this team this year. It just seemed like everyone truly was, whether they were friendly or friends with each other, it seemed like everyone supported the process and supported the mission. And I'm sure, did that make, whenever you have a team like that, how much further does that propel you guys to achieve more in the season than, I guess, the adverse of that and not having that type of camaraderie and that type of atmosphere?
Yeah, like honestly, if you look at what we went through season-wise, how many different home venues we played at, like how much our season got broken up. There was a period where we played 2 games in a week, and we really lost our routine. We lost our rhythm. We lost our ability to take on-field BP basically everywhere we played, and we really got out of rhythm. So if you take in all that adversity and what happened there, if you don't have the culture that we had and the group of boys that were as close as they were, that season ends a lot differently than us being in the playoff race until the last week, essentially. So it does make a massive difference. And, had things been a little bit different, maybe we could have gone on a little bit of a run. You'll never know the answer to that question, but it definitely helps to rock up to an environment where like everyone wants to get to the field every day.
Right.
It was almost like family in there. And, definitely for me, I think the day after everyone left kind of felt a little bit empty that day, knowing that I can't walk around the corner up to the player apartment and have a chat with the boys. And it was a bit of an empty day that day, that's for sure.
Well, and on top of that, too, following up on outside of the team's aspect of things, even the host families and the community partners that you have that are around the team all season long. Dallas, have you had any conversations yet with folks reaching out from host families and just volunteers with the group and employees alike that are saying, man, hey, thanks for being a part of this community? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy week. One of the coolest things was after we played our last game in Springfield, handful, about 10 guys show up at Cat Daddy's to say hello and say goodbye and thank you. And that kind of stuff means a lot. I'm probably closer to players than most general managers in our league. And I'm proud of that. It didn't always fit the footprint of people above me in our organization, but I was proud of it. Like I said, these are guys that I plan on having relationships forever and watching them grow as men and watching them be successful in the future means a lot.
Well, and also, too, it almost seems like the River Dragons became an extended family, a member of the community, honestly, where you had, hell, you had families with kids that were young as 2 years old and 3 years old out there, all the way up to 4 generations of fans that were just sitting next to each other enjoying the game. And did you think, honestly, when you got into town, that you would be able to create a multi-generational experience? Because that's really unheard of when we talk about this type of baseball. Yeah, for Cardinals fans, you'll get a bunch of different generations, but this is normally a little bit more direct. And this was cool what you did, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I guess the short answer to your question is no. I didn't really know what to expect. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to accomplish, and I feel like we accomplished most all of that. One of the first things I said when I got here is I want to make this a cool family entertainment experience for our community, and I want to make our organization an organization where our players want to come back to the following year. And I think we probably led the league in returning players every year. I had other teams.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Had other teams call and ask what we're doing to get so many guys to come back. And when you got a guy that plays for you and he's from Florida and he texts you 3 days after the last season ended and wanted him to come back to the River Dragons next year, that means a lot. We had 2 guys from California that played for us last year and this year, and they got other guys from California to come with them. So that stuff's cool. So we I take a lot of pride in that.
Well, and now as we have a couple of minutes left in the broadcast day today for me, going forward, Kurt, have you made a decision on coming back to the Alton area, or what's that going to look like for you?
Obviously, I'm heading back home tomorrow, gear up for the ABL season.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long summer in Australia, and then. Got something to do with I can't really announce it yet, but I got another program that I need that's not announced yet that I'll be doing back home as well, and then hopefully with the right networking that I've done over here, I can get myself back around for spring, and if that doesn't work out, then college sunball's definitely back on the agenda for me for next year.
Interesting. Really interesting. In Dallas, as we got 2 minutes left, I know that, who knows what happens tomorrow or let alone in 5 minutes. But going forward, what are things looking like for you, and what's your message just to the community as we're saying goodbye on this Wednesday?
Yeah, well, I tell you, I've got a new opportunity I'm looking forward to. I'll have more details on that here in the next week or two, but definitely looking forward to that. But, it comes with a lot of mixed emotions having to leave the area because like we talked about earlier, this area has just been so good to me. The friends I've met here in this town, I feel like I've known them my whole life. So it's going to be hard. And I just want to say thanks to everybody that came out to a River Dragons game. We got to be a family out there. We really did. You saw so many of the same faces, and you always got excited to see new faces that became familiar faces as well. But thanks to all those folks. Thanks to our corporate sponsors. I mean, I think we have over 50 over the years, and considering we started at 0. And,
good point.
And all the players that came in, and just the network of college coaches that we put together to be able to recruit players, and it will certainly be a period of my time I'll never forget.
Well, Dallas, best of luck to you. It was great to get to know you, and it's not goodbye. I'm sure we're going to see each other, but really sad to see this chapter end, but I know the next one's going to be pretty darn good, too.
Absolutely.
Kurt, it was great to get to know you this year, too, man. If you come back, we look forward to it, and not best of luck with everything you got going on. Sounds cool.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate your time.
No problem. With all of you, we're going to take a little bit of a pause for, just about 12 hours or so, maybe 24. I'll see you back here with more of our daily show tomorrow on a Thursday. You're Beautiful with Brian Truss Thursday afternoon, and then the Scotty McCreery pre-show on Friday night. So join me then. On that note, have a great day. Try your best to stay out of jail.